Thank you very much. Good evening. I want to welcome everyone to this evening's meeting of the Senate Committee on Legislative Operations and Elections. Secretary, note that all members are present. We do have a quorum. We have one item on our agenda tonight, a work session on Senate Bill 263, which we heard yesterday, sponsored by Senator Settlemyre. I will turn it over to Director Stewart. There is a new amendment, and that should be up on Nellis. Hopefully all members have a copy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the record, Michael Stewart, Committee Policy Analyst. I hope you can hear me okay. So as the Chair mentioned, Senate Bill 263 we heard yesterday would eliminate the requirement to cancel a person's voter registration when that person changes his or her political affiliation, party affiliation. It will also allow such change to happen without having to completely cancel that voter registration and start over. In addition, 263 makes changes regarding overseas voter, a uniformed service voter, or the spouse or dependent of a uniformed service voter. That's also known as a covered voter, and that relates to their registration to vote and casting an absentee ballot. And that last part is subject to the amendment that you have before you today. Joining us to hopefully answer some questions are Mr. Voloshin and the bill sponsor. But you'll notice that the amendment covers several sections. It's 3 through 5. Section 3, I believe, is NRS 293D 230. And that would the amendment would allow the voter registrations using that federal postcard application to be accepted for those applications returned by electronic mail or fax until the close of polls on election day. But for applications submitted by mail, when accompanied by the voter ballot preference forms, those would be considered timely if they were postmarked on or before the day of the election and then received by the county clerk not later than 5 p.m. on the 7th day following the election. And then that would also be amended to allow the voter registrations using a standard form voter postcard applications that may be accepted by the 7th day prior to election. And then Section 3 is Section is amended relates to applying for a military or overseas ballot using the federal postcard application. That would allow that those would only be accepted by the 7th day prior to the election. And then NRS 293D 310, which is, I believe, also Section 4. Section 5, pardon me, relates to the timeliness and scope of an application for military overseas. And that would be amended to allow that those requests for a ballot on a federal postcard application using that standard form 76 postcard application may only be accepted by the 7th day prior to the election. And then NRS 293D 400, which relates to the timely casting of military overseas ballots, would be amended to allow those overseas ballots to be received by the election official for ballots submitted via and for those submitted via fax or email no later than the close of polls, or if they were mailed, the ballot would be considered timely if it's postmarked on or before the day of the election and then received by the county clerk not later than 5 p.m. on the 7th day following the election. I believe that this language, and Senator Settlemyre and Mr. Voloshin can confirm, the intent here is to sort of mirror some of this ability for overseas voters to cast their ballots in a similar way that other voters would with regards to their absentee. And I think that kind of covers it very quickly, Mr. Chair. And if there's any questions, we'll go from there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director Stewart. Members, any questions? I see a question from Vice Chair Lang.
Thank you. I'm just trying to find the amendment on Nellis, and it doesn't show that there is an amendment. So I'm wondering where I could find it.
If you refresh your computer, it might pop up. I apologize, Vice Chair. We got it just a second ago, or just a little more than a second ago, but pretty quickly. I know that everybody's been working feverishly to try to get this right, and I appreciate the Secretary of State's working with the Clark County Registrar and Senator Settlemyre. Do you have a copy? If not, we will walk you over a hard copy. Is anyone else having any trouble finding the amendment? If not, we can email it to you.
Mr. Chair, it's in my email, and I haven't checked online yet, but sometimes they're under exhibits instead of under work session. So if you look around, I'm not sure if it is posted though, but maybe Ms. Stanley could tell us if it's posted.
It is posted, but it takes me a minute to refresh it for it to go to work session. It will automatically do it, but it is there.
Thank you.
Okay, it's okay. Let's just proceed.
Thank you, Ms. Stanley. For the record, that's our committee manager, Ms. Stanley. Do we have any
Committee members, you should have.
Chief Deputy Secretary of State Voloshin, Senator Settlemeyer? I believe Registrar Gloria I believe he's logged in or
Yes, sir.
by phone.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Senator Severs-Gansert.
Thank you, Chair Orenshaw. So first, I want to thank Senator Settlemeyer for bringing this forth and working so hard to make sure that we could address it this evening. And I know there's some other legislation that's out there contemplating how much time after the election ballots can be accepted, and this states 7 days. And if that moves around, I just want to make sure that they all match up as far as how much time after an election we receive ballots that have been postmarked on at least the day of the election.
This is Senator Settlemeyer. The indications of the laws are being changed at the federal level. Again, if the feds change laws, then sadly the state of Nevada will then have to adjust its laws on that respect. So unfortunately, we can't control the feds at this point in time. But I appreciate the concern.
Thank you. And I do appreciate the bill because we do want to treat our military members the same as everyone else and make sure they've got access to the polls. So I appreciate the work done on this.
Thank you very much, Senator Severs-Gansert. And certainly, I think that if there are any other bills, there is, of course, that harmonizing bill at the end of session that the Legislative Council Bureau puts forward to try to harmonize all bills when they focus on different areas of the NRS. Chief Deputy Voloshin, anything you'd like to comment on?
Thank you, Chair. Mark Voloshin, Deputy Secretary of State for Elections. For the record, I appreciate the Director's summarization of the proposed amendment, and Senator Severs-Gansert hit right on that there is a concern about the shifting timelines, but as mentioned, I don't have anything further on that regard. Thank you, though.
Thank you very much. And I see Registrar Gloria there, and certainly Registrar Gloria, if you can log in, any comments you'd like to make about the amendment?
Joe Gloria, Registrar of Voters, Clark County. The only comment that I have is that we're more than willing to work with Senator Settlemeyer and the committee to make this bill work. We certainly want to include and give as much opportunity as we can to overseas voters. We can continue to work on this. I would recommend that we move forward with the current language and make adjustments as necessary.
Thank you very much, Registrar Gloria. And again, I want to thank Senator Settlemeyer. I want to thank Chief Deputy Secretary of State, everyone who's worked so hard, our staff, Director Stewart, Ms. Stanley, trying to make sure we meet the deadline. Members, any additional questions?
No, I'd be happy to make a motion do pass with the amendment if you're ready.
Yes, I'll open it up then. Senator Severs-Gansert, I have a motion to amend and do pass with the amendment that was emailed out and is on Nellis that represents the work between Senator Settlemeyer, Chief Deputy Secretary of State Voloshin, and Registrar Gloria. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Vice Chair Lang. I have a second from Vice Chair Lang. Any discussion on the motion? You're not seeing any discussion? Secretary, if you take a roll call vote.
Mr. Chair, I believe the second was Senator Buck.
Chair, I think that was Senator Buck that second.
Oh,
I think my voice is so raspy, I sound like everybody. I don't know.
I'm so sorry. Second from Senator Buck. Sorry about that. Any discussion on the motion, members? Okay, not seeing any hands go up. Secretary, if you'd please take a roll call vote.
Senator Lang,
Yes.
Senator Cannizzaro,
Yes.
Senator Severs-Gansert,
Yes.
Senator Buck,
Yes.
Chair Orenshaw,
Yes. Passed unanimously. We'll now close the work session. The last item on our agenda is public comment. Broadcasting, is there anyone on the queue who wishes to make public comment?
Yes, Chair, the line is open and working. However, the public comment lobby is empty at this time.
There's no one in the public comment lobby?
No, Chair.
All right, well, thank you very much. And of course, I will assign that floor statement to Senator Settlemyre, and I can be back up if for any reason you're not here that day, Senator Settlemyre. Everyone have a great weekend, and thank you again to our staff. Thank you to our policy analyst, Director Stewart, our legislative counsel, Brian Fernley, our committee manager, Ann Stanley, and all the other staff who worked so hard broadcasting, make this work this late night. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you. We are adjourned.